All right, so speaking of experiences, we're going to continue on that path. And I actually have a good friend that I asked to fly over from Belgium. Well, actually Amsterdam. I met him in Belgium. From Amsterdam to come here and talk about some very interesting work that he's doing. Because the idea of experiences, and when I asked Kare, could experiences be designed? The answer is yes. And the answer is that not only yes, it's actually being done right now. So please help me welcome to the stage Thomas Marzano from Philips.
Thanks. The Cure again.
Yeah, I know.
That's
See,
great.
that's twice on The Cure. We might have to get some more Cure songs on that loop. So, Thomas, first of all, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Very stylish, even though I'm in a suit. I feel underdressed next to you, but we'll deal with that later. So, a lot of times, you and I, we met in a conversation, a very deep conversation around the idea of UX, or user experience. And UX is something that I think is both an art and science, but I also think it's misunderstood and underappreciated amongst the executive ranks within any organization. It's not just the design of a page or just the design of a product. It's actually the translation of what people feel, do, see, say, share, and the translation of that into desire, expectation, into a greater experience. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts on your philosophy of user experience and sort of what the type of work you're doing in general at Philips is.
Right. So I'm a creative director in the design department function of Philips. And the way that I look at user experience, slight echo, the way that I look at user experience is really twofold. So one way to look at it is from an outside perspective. And from an outside perspective as a user, it's really every little touch point that I have with a brand that is shaping my feeling and my perception of the brand. And I've heard you say in the past that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
It's a Jeff Bezos quote. We'll give him credit.
Exactly. And really, it's all those little interactions that you have with the brand, either online, offline, with the product, with the marketing, communication, social media. That's what's shaping that feeling. Now, the other side of UX is the inside-out view. So within an organization, it's a practice, and it's a competence. And it's a competence that's really there to orchestrate all the different ingredients and facets that shape those experiences. And this is at the crossroads between what your brand and brand values are, what the user requirements, user needs, and user opportunities are, what your business goal is, and what your technical opportunities are. And it's really at that intersection where the practice of UX finds the sweet spot and creates and designs an experience or shapes an experience target. What do we want to achieve? What's that transformation prior and after to this experience that we want to have?
Right. Did you have a movie that you wanted to show at this point?
Yes, as you know, Philips operates in 3 sectors, right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to share an example which is maybe outside of social business and I think is interesting. It's around healthcare. So could we show this movie at this point?
Personalized healthcare goes beyond medical and technical expertise. Consideration must be given to the overall experience. An intimidating MRI exam room does little to ease patient anxiety. Cluttered space and inadequate storage also hinder staff, slowing procedures. Philips Ambient Experience offers tested solutions to address the total exam experience. We quietly shadow patients, nurses, families and physicians to gain insight into emotional and physical requirements. Based on these insights, we recommend a combination of technology, spatial design and workflow improvements to optimize the clinical environment. Obstructive columns are hidden behind flush walls. Rounded corners suggest additional space and discourage clutter. integrated coil cabinets provide easy access to coils and accessories, freeing the room from clutter. A floor island enhances the curved design. Dynamic colored LED lighting neutralizes the harsh glare of institutional lighting while encouraging a sense of well-being. With a gentle wash of color, walls appear to fade away, softening the atmosphere, helping to reduce patient anxiety. A ceiling projector displays videos or animations chosen by the patient from a library of themes, providing a source of positive distraction. Soothing audio is added to create a relaxing ambience. To complete the transformation, a halo of colored light illuminates the exam room, creating a full immersive environment. Working in harmony, these elements define ambient experience. The room is ready for use. While waiting for their exam, young patients playfully explore the concept of scanning with the help of a kitten scanner. Fear of the unknown is reduced. Personalized control is central to the ambient experience concept. Patients are empowered to select their own room theme, thus becoming an active participant in the process. Lighting, projection, and audio immediately respond to their touch. Through positive distraction, anxious patients are reassured and comforted. Exam acceptance is easier. Step into a multi-sensorial environment for this unique experience. With this patient-centric focus, Philips Ambient Experience helps turn healthcare into human care.
I got to tell you that even I would want to visit that room. I hope I don't have to, but the thing that I find fascinating, the reason why I asked him to share this video with you is because it's an intentionally designed experience. But it's not just an experience to have a very cool video and a very cool tagline like people care. I mean, the idea is that you're in a particular function within the organization, but you got called in to do something very important. It wasn't just to redecorate. There had to have been a business reason behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's really driving all this, and that is where the UX competence and the design competence comes in, is that when you're studying the experience of patients and of radiologists in a hospital, and you're observing what happens, if you just look at it from a purely product point of view to improve your product, you will not surface all the details of that experience that go prior to the moment of the actual scan. Now, one of the crucial insights that we started to gather was small children, they really suffer from anxiety. It's really a daunting experience to go through one of those MRIs. And because of that, they were moving a lot inside the scanner, which basically gave wrong results, and the radiologist had to do the scan all over again. Now, of course, this causes problems in the planning, scan needs to be done again, and that takes time, money, etc. So by improving that experience and creating a sensation of a soothing experience for the children, so in the waiting room they can already get an understanding of what will happen and what that scanning is about. And then, as you've seen, of the design of the space, the spatial design, the lighting, etc., is all designed to calm down and to soothe the patient. And this radically improved not just the experience of the patient, but actually the effectiveness of the scans, which ultimately is bringing a user-patient benefit and a business benefit and bringing them together.
And then I got to imagine that this then spills over into other departments of Philips, right? So let's just take, that's a B2B example, which is actually a B2B to C example, but let's look at the just straight B2C in product development. I know you've shared with me some of your work around experience flows,
yes,
where you can take from the beginning of a product experience all the way through the end of a product experience. But for those who haven't necessarily seen one of your experience flows, why don't you walk us through what that is all about and why you've developed this within Philips?
Right. Well, cue my slide. There should be a slide here. Yes. So an experience flow, and one step prior to that is we've talked about customer journeys, right? Customer decision journeys, and all the various consultancies like Altimeter, but also Forrester. We've shown that there is a cyclical journey that goes from trigger moment to through consideration to a purchase moment, post-purchase experiences, and if all goes well, one of loyalty. And our experience flows is based on that work and is a response to that to try to make it as tangible and as actionable within an organization. So what you see depicted here is really a stretched out timeline. Of course, it never happens chronologically in this way, but it allows us at least to put it in a sequence that really takes you from an initial trigger moment that you might be triggered to engage with a brand with a certain need, up until, at the far end, really the final years of experience that you have with a product until you either renew it, dispose of it, or you re-engage with the brand. And what we create in this experience flow is not just identifying the touch points that are involved at each different stage, but it's really a sum of all the insights and of all the research done by the different functions within the organization. Because we've been talking about silos a lot in the morning sessions. And every silo does its own research. And it's great research, but usually it ends up somewhere in a drawer, and it doesn't span across silos.
Right.
So what we've tried to do is we've tried to develop this methodology, bring together all those insights and visualize them back on a poster. Now this poster usually when we print it out is about 6 meters wide. And we take all the different functions together in a room. And we use this as a reflection of their own insights, but also as a way to show how their function and their role within the organization connects to another function in the organization. So how does CRM connect with marketing? How does product development connect with sales? And show those interrelations. And this really serves us to really understand our consumers, to really get a good picture of what it is that they're doing, what are their key needs, and together decide upon prioritizing which needs are the most crucial ones to create that user experience, branded experience that we want them to have.
So how does this change inside the organization then? Because not only are you showing them how everybody plays a part in the overall journey and how these touch points can be activated, but I think you're actually doing a little bit more than that, right? Because I think in each one of these series of touch points, you're sort of, it's almost like a story arc in of itself. You're pushing people along of what that scenario could look like and what you want them to do next.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the experience flow methodology is there to surface the insights. So we're all on the same page.
Right.
We all understand. The next step is, what is that desired experience? In the previous talk, we were talking about brand as a personality.
Right.
And in a way, it's you need to design that person. You need to create how that person behaves on different touch points. So based on this, we design that ideal experience. And it's a broad brushstroke. It's not in all full details. It's really just to give us a song sheet that we all say, yes, if we could be experienced like that, then that is what we're going for. And that serves as a guiding principle then for each and every function to then go in and work out their social strategy, to work out their campaign, to work out the product design, to work out the user interface, to work out the mobile app. Because of course you cannot do everything centralized and wait for, after 2 years and you're done. You need to have a common starting point, an ideal, and enable the rest of the organization to run with it.
This is fascinating. If you could bring that image up one more time. The thing that I love about it is that everybody sees that they don't just play a role in the organization as part of this graphic, but they play a role in the outcome of customer engagement.
Yes.
At every step of the way. How has this changed the culture of the company, or how is this changing the culture of the company?
It's really a journey that we're in. Of course, these things don't happen overnight, and it's really been creating proof point after proof point after proof point that we've been able, as a design function, to show that design is not just the end product, but it's an activity that we do, and it's a set of activities. And it's also something that we shouldn't be just owning as designers. It's something that we all should be adopting and accepting as being like social. It's very much not something that you put in a social department. It's something that you want the entire organization to do. UX is very much at that same level. There is no one single owner of UX. We're all contributing to that UX. And I think the more we evolve, the more what we see happening is that this tool of experience flows is being adopted by all of the different functions. And we, as UX designers, we can help facilitate in the creation and moderating a lot of sessions, but the adoption has really started.
Well, with the 2 minutes that we have left, I'm pretty sure that the UX function exists within everybody's organization. They're probably not as elaborate as this, maybe some are. But like social is in a silo too, and it's trying to break out. I mean, this is one of the inspirations behind this conference, is to create a more social business.
Yep.
UX within the organization, what advice do you have for people, let's say, who are not in UX, to seek them out and to build a partnership to do what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're learning?
I would advise to, if you have UX designers, is look at their methodologies and do not necessarily look at their end product. Look at their methodologies, the methods they use to get to a solution. Because those methodologies of user research, understanding the needs of the consumer, mapping this out, dealing with data, massive amount of data, is really something that we can extract from the competence of UX and really bring at the heart of business strategy. And that's what I would advise every company to do.
Yeah, in fact, in many ways, it sounds like earlier Dana Vetter from Aramark talked about how she created a social delegation of key stakeholder groups within the organization that were going to, not to this sort of extent, but show how the company needed to change from the inside out, and HR, legal, finance, and it seems to me that in addition to some of those other roles like IT and social, that UX might need to have a seat at the table because it seems to affect every part of it.
It affects everything and it affects everybody, and it really helps also to give everybody the sense that every function in the company is influencing that end experience. And I think that's the power of UX.
Excellent. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much,
Thanks for flying all the way over here.
Thank you.
Thank you.